You're pathetic with your diary. You only ever do the first few lines anyway. Hey, and there's another thing about this transport. I felt a right Charlie coming down the M6 on this. And what are we doing here so early, eh? And there's another thing. People writing to me about Blackpool saying, did the Romans come or not? Make your mind up. Well, they did come. They had a look at the Centani, the people who lived here in their bogs, Blackpool. Now, they're not here now. It was a bit of a while ago, before the Pleasure Beach opened. Anyway, they took one look at it and left. So I was right on both counts. They did come and they didn't come. Right. This place, it's shut. It's so flaming early in the morning, everywhere's shut. This is a fly-on-the-wall documentary. And if you think I'm going up that wall, you can forget it. I'm not. So what are we supposed to be doing here? Going on the rides. They're all closed. We're testing the rides. Well, yeah, all right then, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 145. They're all here. Right, that's it, done. Let's move on. Right. Yeah, I think actually I'll be the one in the spotlight, if you don't mind. I'm over here. Thank you. Blackpool and its history of amusements. Now, Uncle Tom's Cabin, that was the first place, built right up at the edge of town, on the edge of a cliff. Unfortunately, the cliff fell into the sea. So they built another one, further inland a bit. Down this end, on the beach, there were some travellers who had one or two little amusement rides themselves. And there was a Yorkshire meat trader called Outhwaite, whose father-in-law was in Philadelphia and made merry-go-rounds. So he opened here, Outhwaite's American Merry-Go-Round. And along came Mr. Bean, William George Bean, who saw the merry-go-round and had a vision of that. Well, he had a vision of something grand. Whether he thought it would be this grand, I don't know. He took a lease on 30 acres, it's a bit bigger now, 42, and 7.5 million people a year come in here. And they've got all sorts of rides, including 11 roller coasters, 5 of them made out of wood, 6 of them made out of metal. And you're right, they do have to be tested. You have to go and look at them each morning to make sure nothing's happened overnight. So we could go and do that job between us. Yeah, no, it's a new thing. I really don't know what it is or what it does. But anyway, we'll split it between us, all right? I'll meet you in the middle. How'd you get on then? You checked a few, have you? How many did? 5. 10. It's a bit difficult with one, hasn't it? 10! Right, well that leaves this one then, the dipper. I'm just checking this one because it's quite high and you need everything needs to be checked by Keith, who's doing it for me, which was nice of him, don't you think? Keith, do you do this every morning?
Yes, 7 days a week, while the park's open for the public use.
And what do you do? I mean, presumably you're just giving it the once-over from the night before, are you?
Well, that's it. We're just checking around for things, making sure, preventive maintenance more than anything, make sure there's no loose bolts, checking that the rails are secure and whatnot for the whole of the day.
And the heights, they don't bother you?
No, I've got used to it. 8 years of working here, you soon get used to the heights.
I'll bet you do. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll leave you to it and I'll stay right down here.
Right,
cheers, Keith.
See you later.
See you later. What a man, you see. Brilliant. I'd have been there, but, you know, we're a bit tight for time, as it is. I'd have been there. Anyway, 1921, you know, they built this. Brilliant. And last year they had a marathon, 100 hours, people sleeping on it. I'd have been there as well, but we were busy at the time. Anyway, so what's so special about the mouse, eh? The wild mouse. Kitty's been after it for ages. No? Hey, there's someone walking round checking this one. You didn't check it at all, did you? Ha! No wonder you didn't know about the wild mouse. Well, I can tell you. It's got a plaque on it, this one. It's historic. Actually, quite a few of them have got plaques on them. And talking of things historical, I'll tell you about a bloke called Sir Hiram Maxim, who worked for a company called Vickers, Sons and Maxim. Vickers, as in aeroplanes. Anyway, he was quick onto aeroplanes and built one, 3.5 tons, flew a few hundred yards and then crashed. So, he gave up on aeroplanes and instead went into fairgrounds, this way. And he built a flying machine, which is still operating here today. In fact, we'll go and see it in a minute. And there's lots of rides that have got plaques on them because they date. The date. Right, you're right. Yeah, there's the Big Dipper, which was 1921. There was the roller coaster, which is 33. I've got a good crib sheet, haven't you? There's the Zipper Dipper, 34. The Grand National, 35. The Wild Mouse, 58. Good year, that. The Steeplechase, 77. The Revolutionary, 79. The Takayado Express, 80. The Avalanche, 88. And then the big one in 94. Brilliant. Now, Mr. Maxim's flying machine. Shall we go and see it? No, it's not still the same machine, but it's the same principle. This one's probably from the 60s or something like that. Hey, do you know what? Some of the attractions here are concessions, which means they're run by other people, not by the Pleasure Beach Company. You've got an idea for one. What's that then? Kitty the Cat's Caring Cat Food Counter. That's absolutely brilliant. What would that do then? If people brought the cats on holiday, they'd have somewhere to take it for lunch. Yeah, they might well go for that. Yeah, you just try it on them. I think not. What's the matter? Yeah, no, it's a new ride. The PlayStation thing. See, this is one of those concessions, the Arabian Derby. No horses, camels. And you make the camels move by rolling these balls up. And if you get them in a hole, then depending on which hole you get them in, you get a point which moves the camel along, you see? Brilliant. Is it gambling? Well, I suppose it's a sort of gambling. Why? You bet I can't do his job. Good. Bet you. Roll up for the Arabian Derby. See if your camel can win that race. Roll the ball, move your camel, come and join us and win yourself. I better leave it to Aidan, the professional, eh? Cheers, eh?
Right, come on, I'm only looking for the first 2 or 3 jockeys now, that's all I need to get me started.
Can I help you? You want one of those? You don't think I can do it, do you? Watch this. I broke the stick. Yeah, well, you spin it around a bit, and then you get it all. What's it made out of? Well, it's made out of sugar. And what else? Sugar. And sugar. And it just heats up, you see, and then spins round, and oh, it's brilliant. That's 70p, that. 70p. Well, I'll have it then. Could you make one in your kitchen? No, I don't think you could spin round fast enough, could you? Hey, talking of spinning round. Yep, it is the big one, climbing right up to the top. And shall I tell you some interesting statistics about this? The drop is the steepest in the world. You get 3.5 positive Gs. and also 0.5 of a negative one, whatever that means. It's just over a mile long. You do 85 miles an hour, and it frightens the pants off you. And here's another statistic. I'm not doing it. You are. Oh, yeah. Big, brave eye with your big camera on that. Ha! I'd love to see what you get as you get thrown round on that thing. Two reasons why you are not fooling anybody. The first is, that was old footage. They've changed it now. It's got a little kink in it up at the top. And the second is, your picture hasn't come up down there with you looking all frightened. If you remember when I did it, there was a picture of me doing it. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Yeah, and your picture wasn't there, was it? So you weren't fooling anybody. Right, what are we going to do now? You've got a job for me. Does it involve walking over roller coasters or spinning round or doing... Right. Well, I don't care. Whatever it is, I'll do it. What's my motivation? To be nice with kids. Okay, I can do that. How do I look? Do I want a lump of timber to chew on? No, I don't think so. Very funny. Right, alright. You always were a big kid at heart. Hello. Hi. Not funny. In that costume, I had a serious acting role on there. No lines given to me. I had to just make it up as I went along. Method acting it was. And it was hot in there. It's not that funny. Actually, I know the bloke who auditioned for that, you know. He didn't look anything like that. But the truth is, when you stand by it, you do actually start laughing. Oi, we're over here. Come on. Now this is my kind of ride. The sort of speed that I like travelling at. None of those fast, scary things. Teddy normally drives this train, and you've been driving it for how long, Teddy?
1963.
63.
I came on this ride.
And you were here before then, weren't you?
Yes, 58.
58, that was a good year. 58.
Certainly was.
So, you always wanted to be the train driver, didn't you?
That was my ambition, but there was a very nice gentleman already at the job. So I had to wait until he retired. And when the vacancy came up, I applied for it, which they were rather surprised. And I went in to see the then grounds manager, Mr. Frank Wright, who had got me an interview with Leonard Thompson, who said they'd give me a trial for it. And eventually I was sent down on trial, and I'm still here. And one day, maybe one day, I'll actually get the job.
But 40 years later, you're still on trial.
Yes. very much so.
Now, come on, you've been here a bit. You must have some questions, and I am the Oracle, so ask away. Today would be good. When you're ready. How do the logs go round on a log flume? Well, you see, the water's flowing, and it flows so fast it pushes them straight up the hill. You lump. They float round here, then they get dragged up there and tossed over the top. Next. What does the expression rain check mean? Oh, we're back to expressions and explanations. All right, get this. Nothing to do with checking on weather. The Americans, when they have a sporting event, used to give a ticket, which meant that if the event was rained off, they could go back to the event with that ticket without having to pay again. It was called a check. Rain check. What does sold down the river mean? Right, okay. Unfortunately, some people used to be slaves. In the north, they were treated badly, but not that badly. In the south, they were treated appallingly. And if you got sold down the Mississippi to the south of America, the expression fitting it was sold down the river. There you go. Now this chute does run on a track all the way around, except for the bit where you go through the water. You've got another one. Well, what is it? But hold on, yeah, what? 3 sheets to the wind. Right, well, obviously it means being drunk, but actually the expression comes from not sails flapping about, 3 sails flapping about, you'd think that with the sheets, but actually the lines that control the sails, they're known as sheets, and if they're flapping about, you're all over the place. Kind of a bit like I am in one of these. 3 sheets to the wind. Gone all dizzy now, going round and round. Listen, Blackpool. Do you know that it's exactly the same name as Dublin? It's true. They both mean exactly the same thing. Blackpool. Martin Mere, just up the road, had a stream running from it which went through peaty land, which discoloured the water and made it black. That's why it was called Blackpool or Blackpool. And it stayed pretty remote and deserted, just clay mud huts, even a couple of 100 years ago. And then, in 1840, when the railways came out here, big time, the boom hit Blackpool. You are so predictable and childish. Do some pretty pictures of Blackpool, will you? You've done some already. Your mate Okie Dokie Don did them. Right. Now, you know we were talking about Mr. Bean before, who set up this fabulous place. This is Mr. Bean's daughter, Mrs. Thompson, still the chair of this company at 94?
94.
And an active chairman at that, because you had a go on this ride a few days ago. How did you like it?
I liked it very much. It's quite thrilling and very smooth. That's why I could ride it, because it is so smooth. Very quick. It's very smooth.
Do you not get afraid at all?
Not really, no, I don't, because you see, I'm accustomed to rides. I've been riding since I was 3. I started with the helter-skelter, progressed to roller coasters and so on. So I've really ridden everything all my life until I got too old to do it.
Do they get better over the years, the rides, or is the thrill just the same as...
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Our first roller coaster, which was called the Velvet Coaster, was a very calm and gentle ride compared to the ones we have today. But my grandmother thought they were terrifying then.
It's a fabulous empire that your father and yourself and your family have set up. Is it going to go on forever?
Well, of course I won't be able to see, but I hope it will, and I think it will. Providing they all get on with the work the way their predecessors did, then it should.
I'm sure with you in charge they will do.
But I won't be here. I'll be only looking from above.
Indeed.
I hope it's above.
Mrs. Thompson, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Me? No. Oh, I see what you're saying. If Mrs. Thompson can do it, I can do it. Okay, then. Dave Mercer was the project manager on this beast of a machine. David, how does it work?
Okay, well, it's worked on the principle of a large volume of air is pushed simultaneously onto the top of pistons on the cylinders which drive the car upwards, and then once the car reaches the bottom, the opposite principle occurs and the car goes back down.
Did that make sense to you? It didn't make any sense to me. I'll tell you what it does mean. It means it's frightening. I don't want to do this. You've got to make me hold the camera as well. Is it running now? I really don't want to do this. You know me in heights. Ugh. I'll get you back. Oh! Oh! That is unpleasant. Oh! Oh, not back up again. Let's go down now. Ah! I still can't believe I did that. Still, there we go. Didn't we have a lovely day on the beach? The pleasure beach. After a day like that, and a ride like that, there's only one way that you can finish in Blackpool. Cheers, mate.
Joanne Liebler is joined by Dean Johnson for some constructive help on building a deck in home time. That's coming up at 12:15 after a handy tip.